here from Creative Moms Decant. So today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect beach accessory. We're going to make a bookmark using UV resin. Let's get started.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me.
So UV resin bookmark. I'm super excited about this, mostly because I'm going to dream that I am at the beach the entire time I'm making this. I am ready to go back, and we went not very long ago, really. We went to the Gulf Shores. So I am thinking white sands and blue waters. And this is an acrylic blank bookmark that I got from Craft Chameleon. I have alcohol ink and glitters, all kinds of glitter out. I grabbed this chunky glitter from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to use some of the big sequins in here. And then I also have out my gold leafing, and we'll just kind of see where it leads. That's how I do my UV resin, and that's what makes it fun for me. So the first thing I want to do is kind of start my line of how I want things to swirl through. So I'm going to take my UV resin, and I'm just going to swirl in a fun beachy line here. And then I usually just kind of work it whichever way I think the resin wants to go. So it kind of seems like it wants to go this way. So I am going to work the water and then the sand. So I'm going to work this UV resin all the way all over my bookmark, completely from the line I just made to the edge. Alright, so I've got that spread on one half. Let's talk about this for a minute. You need to be very careful if you're wanting this to be two-sided. So just think about that and where you're placing things. And I like to place in, so the reason I did a clear coat of glitter, or clear coat of resin, is I like to place in items that are going to be large. So large items to me would be mermaids, and it would also be your leaf ink. Glitter and alcohol inks I would not count, but they're hard to cure in the UV resin. So I'm going to go ahead and place my mermaids in. I think I'm just going to stick to the pink ones, and we're going to do 2 pink mermaids. Alright. And then I have a mermaid tail and some starfish. I think I'm going to save the fish for, or the stars I mean, for the sand. Woo! Shake them all out, right? But I might grab one tail up here in the far corner. And then you can use your brushes to poke those kind of down into the resin so that they're placed in there where you want them. And then I'm going to use the alcohol ink and the glitter. So the cool thing about glitter and alcohol ink together is glitter almost stops the alcohol ink. So you can actually just sprinkle a little bit of glitter and get your alcohol ink to kind of stop. So I'm going to grab a little glitter on the end of this popsicle stick and sprinkle a little, especially along this edge. I want to hold that edge really well with color that's not going to be in the other part of my project. So I am sprinkling this edge covered, but I'm trying to get just basically the edge, and then I'm going to work it out a little bit of splotches. That's what we're going to call a technical term there. Alright, and then I'm going to use my blueberry here, and I'm going to do just a spot right in the center. One drip is all I want, so you want to be real careful because they will drip fast. And this is a resin colorant. I called it an alcohol ink. I'll get you an alcohol ink in a second. But the resin colorant is fun to swirl in colors. So that one drop, and you can just swirl your color out, and you can even drag it on your brush to other places of your blank. So those are real fun to get some real water textures especially. I'm taking it right down in here to where I'm stopping this and just pulling it where I want it everywhere, anywhere. And so once I've kind of moved my resin colorant to look like water, and you can kind of run some brush strokes the same direction you ran that line, and that will help it. All right, now we're going to add our alcohol ink. All right, so the same principle, you don't want to use much and you'll move it with your brush. So there I've got some coming down. And the alcohol ink will kind of hold place on top. So it is a good way to color everything in. I like to leave wave looking motion, so I only want to use a drip and then I kind of just want to work it. The other thing you can do here is add some of your white inks, which really helps stop and move colors in a fun way too. Let me get one more dot of this one, and that is running onto the acrylic blank, which we will be able to wipe up. All right, so I'm going to stop with this one and I'm going to grab a white and show you what the white will do. So I grabbed my high. I'm going to be honest, I always have better results with the high than I do the low. I don't know why. So I'm going to drop in a white right over here on the side and kind of let it work its magic. I want to keep it off of my sequin if I can, but remember we can always flip over and some of that will wipe up. So that's a fun way to kind of add, look at what it did to that line down here. Let me move the camera angle here. I realize you can't see it. I will of course show you up close. So if you look right down here, it added so many cool waves right at the line, and this part here will wipe up. That's not going to stay put. Even some of it does, it's okay with me. So the only part I'm really concerned about is where I've got a little bit of bleed on my mermaid. So I'm going to grab a wet wipe, and I am going to kind of dab at her a little bit and make sure it's not resin on her. You can also use rubbing alcohol to clean them up, and that's not a bad choice at all. I am actually just too concerned about her. And I know, some crafters really complain about the price of glitter. I'm using one piece here. I'm going to pull it. So I'm going to grab my brush. I really don't know what I want to use to pull it. I guess my nail. This is why I change my fingernails all the time, because I just get in hands in. But it's no surprise. I'm barefoot all the time. I'm just kind of, that's what I do. All right, let's grab this other mermaid here and stick her back in like nothing ever happened. You do want to hold your place though, otherwise you won't see them at all on the other side. So that's, you do want to put them in ahead of time. All right, so now we're going to cure this layer and then we're going to clean it up with rubbing alcohol. All right, so I have a clean wet wipe here and a little rubbing alcohol on the end. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. I did 1/99. I do have a 120 watt UV lamp. And I'm just going to clean up the end there where we, had the alcohol ink or the glitter or anything splashed over. And it cleans up easy. Of course, the UV resin doesn't, but anything you just splashed over will. So now we are ready to go for sand. So I'm going to do basically the same thing first. I'm going to cover this completely with UV resin. So I am going for white sands here. So I'm going to use some of this powdered sugar And I'm going to do the same thing that basically we did. I'm going to get myself a line going. I also want to put in some of this iridescent. And I really want it right along that line as well. These are both so light that I'm going to have to sprinkle in some other colors. I have some more white coming, but I just don't have a real white. But I think these are going to work great for my sand look here. So I really do want to coat with as much of the white as I can. Nice splotches of white looking sand. Alright, so I've got my line and I have a splotch and a splotch. So now I'm going to talk about this foil. So gold leafing. It's like really thin foil. So it's really hard to set up big things like this mermaid or pieces of chunky gold foiling. And so you need to make sure things are thin. That's why these are going to work so well, because when we're all done, we're going to flip it over and we're going to put it under the light again and cure that backside, and will be perfect because it's clear back there. And you've got to basically get the same thing with the foiling. However, with the foiling, if it is too thick and resin gets between the layers, it does not seal nice ever. So you do kind of have to play with it and find pieces that are large or separate them out. I just found one. If you want large chunks of foil in areas of any design. Okay, so like I left this corner down here without any glitter. So I can put this large piece of foil down in this corner. I really dropped it sooner than I wanted, but I'm going to make it work. And then the next thing I do is, and you'll see me doing it, let me get you some good light on what I'm doing here. So now I'm going to use these tweezers or any fine tip. I've used a pen, like a needle, a stick pin, and I'm going to tap it in, purposely putting a few little bubbles so that the resin has places to escape and you don't get air under there. So I want it definitely everywhere covered, pushed down. If you're using a tiny piece like this one, you don't have to worry so much, so you can slide it into some other places and it will almost go in like glitter. But again, you don't want to put it in as a top coat because it's really hard to get those sealed with UV resin. It's possible, it's just difficult. So I'm going to also grab a piece of this over here on this side, and I will sand that off before I seal completely. So I'm just going to grab that, and the foiling also kind of comes off really easy on its own, and I might just be able to pull it. So. And I forget when I'm doing something two-sided like this that this side is dry, but man, that's convenient to have a handle. Alright, so now I will be able to just use a nail file and sand that off or file that off. I think I need a couple more little pieces over here. And I have a little piece on both sides of this, so let's put this one in. And then I'm going to put this one in. Let's go down here maybe, I hope. It's in. Alright, so now I'm going to finish covering this side of this with white glitter. I definitely wanted this holographic one because it's so super fun. So I did another pinch of it, and then I'm going to dip into this rainbow sprinkles I have out, and it is a silver glitter. And I thought that would definitely help that white sand look. You could have went for a brown or tan salted caramel sand look. I just really wanted the crystal white sands. I've got to get a good white glitter. I looked at some and I should have just pressed order. They would have been here this week. Actually, I think the silver is looking really cool. I'm super excited. Let's add a little bit more of the powdered sugar and then get this one under the light. I have been big on my 90-second cleanup just because my UV light runs 99 seconds. So I guess actually it's a 99-second cleanup. But it's amazing how much I can get done in that 99 seconds. I have all my resin put away, which one bottle of resin, but I have all the glitter, all the alcohol inks, it's all put away. The only thing, and sometimes lately I've even been putting the tools I still need away, but the only thing I left out is these tools and my stars because I forgot to use them. All right, let's look. So I am going to be super excited, I know, because you know, they're coming out amazing. So we need a nail file. That's the easiest thing, and I always have one handy. And I'm just going to file off that edge there. And then if I had any others, this side is a little bit, then I would just take this file and run it down. We want the edges to be smooth before we continue, or you'll have to sand more. It's much easier to do it this layer. That's good. This one maybe just a hair more. Even when I do rounded blanks, I do try to at least hit the edges, although it's hard, but you can kind of do a motion like that. I'm going to get that one a little bit better. Much easier to do now, though, after one coat than when you have two, especially if you're going to get a little thicker because we did a design. So the last step here would be clean this up again with rubbing alcohol. I'm going to dot a little on and clean, and then cover the whole thing with UV resin. Don't be I did not, but don't be completely alarmed if you get a little bit of colorant. I did right there, but I usually get a little bit more there. You can kind of see it. So don't be alarmed. Just dab it off, and the rubbing alcohol works great, and it should all come off just fine with no issues. And then you're going to want to use your resin to completely cover this. And remember that 99-second cleanup? And I was so proud of putting my resin away. I did that right before I hit record and still needed it. All right, let's get this on.
With an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection.
Isn't that gorgeous? I absolutely love this mermaid beachy bookmark, and I think it's perfect to take with you to the beach. To finish it, you will want to knock out your edges, make sure they're all nice and smooth. They really shouldn't be bad because we did the pre-coat. A little bit maybe where that foil was over a little bit down here, and sometimes that holographic glitter in a couple places did kind of bubble up that UV resin. But our UV resin bookmark is adorable. Oh my gosh. Look at how stunning this side is. That is so fun. I think because it's just such a fun, girly bookmark, I'm going to go with this pink plaid. And it is a chunky ribbon for a bookmark, but I think it's going to look really fun. Actually, I would do that differently. Let's take both sides of this ribbon in, or the center, it doesn't matter. This side, it's kind of a wiry ribbon, so I think it'll go through, but it is chunky. Yes. And then once I get a loop of it through, I can pull my two tails under, and that is a fun way to end a bookmark. It's also a super simple way. I would probably take the end and cut my ends of this ribbon if my scissors were at this desk at an angle. That's it. I think it's going to be an awesome bookmark. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is gorgeous. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a joyful day, friends. Bye.
With an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine.